Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here, back with Paddy for our weekly live stream, all about the latest on Cardano and maybe a little bit about the overall market. Paddy, welcome back for another Cardano crack.
Well, Paul, what's crack? It's been. When did we go live last? When did everything kick off?
We've done the XRP special last Thursday, I think, as the news was breaking. So.
Yeah. But sure, we'll have this one today, and then we've a bit of a special tomorrow, don't we?
Yeah, good live stream happening tomorrow evening, nighttime for us. I will get the links for that one out after this. We're sitting down with Mickey from World Mobile to cover all the latest on what's been happening there with them over the last few months, I suppose, and last week some good news from the project. So we'll cover all of that tomorrow evening. If anyone has questions for World Mobile, we'll put out some tweets tonight, and even below this video, put in some questions that you have, and we'll try and put as many as possible to Mickey when we do have him on the spot.
Yeah, that should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Looking at the comments, I presume people can hear us. I can see some comments coming in. Drama. I don't do Twitter. I'm so out of the loop. Yeah, Twitter a lot of times, in recent times especially, has just been so much drama. It's Enoch says he quit Twitter because of the drama on Cardano Twitter was just too much. Yeah, sometimes I think people just argue for the sake of arguing. And Vulcan can hear us. Thanks for letting us know. And Studio Malaka, I just need to ignore the drama and keep building. The project is very solid foundations. Yeah, sometimes the drama just takes away from what's actually happening with different projects and on chain. And I do wonder, is every ecosystem the same, or they couldn't all be as drama fueled as often as we are they?
Do you know what? I follow a lot of people within a few different communities, and you do see some drama, and I do see some of what's going on. But I don't think it's as much. And I don't think there's as much fighting and drama and constant. Sometimes I see it as negativity. And then everything is called FUD, and then everybody is ridiculed, and you're the only person that's right sort of mentality. So yeah, there is a good lot of it. I sometimes get baited into some things, but I think over the past couple of months I've tried to stay away from most of it, because none of it helps. None of it is of any use. Is what I sort of realized, and it's taken a while for me to realize that. But someone will always complain. There will always be drama drummed up about something, is what I've realized.
Yeah, I generally try and avoid it on Twitter because it's just a lose-lose game. You're never going to win in it, even if you think and you know yourself you're right about something. There'll always be someone on the opposite side that will, I think, argue for the sake of arguing. And when you mentioned FUD there, when you point out things about a project, things that might be questions or that legitimate questions, that's not FUD either. As soon as you ask questions of a project, you get hardcore fans of the project coming out saying, oh, look, this person's spreading FUD about the project because they asked a question. And even if it's a completely legitimate question, or even something about how the protocol works, you can get attacked doing that. So it's something people need to be aware of, that legitimate questions are good for a project overall, and don't take them as an attack, because if you take them as an attack, then it can just give a bad image of the project, even just that. Whereas if you come out and answer the questions legitimately, then it can do a lot of good for the overall project. Let's see what I'm missing here, and then we'll see what few topics we have to get in. Put you on spot. Favorite active project at the minute? Hyde. I'm not gonna pronounce that right. It says his Indigo. I presume that's live project.
Mm-hmm. Good
Definitely.
project.
Yeah, good choice in Indigo. What about yourself?
It's categorized. I would probably have different categories of stuff. Obviously, World Mobile is my real world sort of project. With regards to DeFi and that, I do like Indigo. I've used it quite a few times. The My decks of choice is weirdly Wing Raiders. I've used that mainly. And then, yeah, I would go for those. Those will do for the minute.
Nice. What else have we got? Cardano supporter, Sanjay. Good to have you with us, Kyle. Just read the stuff and move on. Don't have to desire to engage with drama. Yeah, I'm generally like that. I will read a lot of it, and just don't get sucked into it. So studio is David from the European Cardano community, and I will be on their show tomorrow at 5:30 Irish time, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, David. But I shared out the links for that one on my own Twitter. I think there's a few different people joining the stream over there tomorrow. All strange hearing your own name. Yeah, I suppose this is something we can cover. I'm not even fully sure of everything that the community does, but looking forward to diving into that tomorrow on what the European community does and where to get involved. There is a Discord for people that want to get involved. And if you want to share the link in the chat, David, I think it should go through okay. It's not that other ecosystems are not the same or not. It's more so the problem is the nature of people. So it's in everything where humans are involved. Yeah, that's definitely, I think, across all facets of life, you're going to get it. Maybe I shouldn't put drama in the title today. It only feeds the...
More drama.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of the comments and then we'll jump into whatever we have. The take on the broader Catalyst discussion regarding its legitimacy due to low participation and IOG handling it, and referring to Patrick's post and replies. I'm not sure the one specifically, or is that the one actually on Catalyst? They're looking for funding to continue running Catalyst, and there is five proposals that people get to choose between. So I know there was someone else come out and said, what if we downvote every proposal in there? What actually happens? Does Catalyst continue? And I think Catalyst, it's along the right lines, but up to this point, it hasn't been as successful as it should be. It's not as easy for legitimate projects to get funding to actually go out and build. I don't think any project can actually come into Cardano and with a legitimate idea and think we not just guaranteed, but you have a very good chance of getting funds to actually get out there and build. So there's a lot of work to do around trying to find what are the projects that are out to do good, to build good long-term for the community and for whatever protocol they're building. It doesn't, in my mind, there's some people say everything should be open source that goes through Catalyst. And to a degree, I think, yes, but certain types of protocols, you can't open source everything. And if you do, then it'll just flood the market. So I think I will be talking actually in, what day are we now? 2 weeks. I'll be sitting down with the Catalyst team. So I will be putting out posts across all socials, trying to get questions to put towards the Catalyst team. And we can talk about how it's been up to now, what the new improvements are in Fund 10, because Fund 10 has changed from previous funds, and talk about going forward, what will happen. And that's probably one I can put to them about the proposals and IOG being in charge of Catalyst, having Catalyst versus the foundation managing the treasury, and them being the ones that decide where the funds actually go, which is what happens in a lot of other ecosystems, a lot of other blockchains. It's the foundation basically has the keys to the wallet and they decide who gets it. But your own thoughts on Catalyst, Paddy?
For a long time, I think the idea of it is great, and I think it's great for Cardano. I don't think the whole process has been great. I've probably voted twice. I voted in two funds. I think in the early days, it was a hassle and you have to have the different data lists, whatever it was you had to do. And I know there's plans to make it's totally easy and that's a lot better. But I just don't like the whole process. There's so much useless projects in there. And everybody can put a project. And I know it's meant to be decentralized. And I know it's meant to be everybody can downvote it and all these things and vote for what they want. But there's so much useless projects that they're not even they're not even of any use to Cardano, but they get through and they're shown and they're displayed. You know, I always feel as if there should be some sort of vetting process, or removing of a vetting process, some sort of fee that a project has to pay to list their proposal to, you know, try and get funding. Because a lot of people dump in project or idea after idea. They're all ideas. They're nothing. They're just ideas. And there's nothing against people dumping in these ideas that people might like, and they might get funded for. And I just feel it needs to be improved. Do I think IO is the best people for the job? I sort of do. Would I like another entity to take over? I also think that too. They need to improve it. They need to make it better. They need to streamline it. They need to add in other filters to remove a lot of the, and I'll say it, useless proposals that are put in there. And the voting needs to be, they need to improve the voting process and maybe rounds of voting rather than just this one voting proposal that goes through and they get funding. You know, and the easy thing for me to describe is Daedalus Turbo got through. Now, realistically, okay, it got through, it got funding, people voted for it, but technically that should never have gone through, ever. It was a total waste of ADA, and some sort of technical board would be great to have to say, this is useless, this is never going to work. Everybody knew it was useless, you know, well, maybe a lot more the stake operators and a lot more the technical guys that are out there knew this, but general public and general people who were willing to vote, they mightn't have known the insides that a lot of this was already known, it wasn't possible, and there was things coming down the line that was going to improve it anyways. But that's my rant on it. I do love the idea of it, and I want it to continue. And I'm hoping you know, and we can touch on the latest proposal process where someone else can take over, if possible. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it, and I want it to continue.
Yeah, I don't know what the right solution is for Catalyst. I think the current form doesn't really work. I seen talks of people kind of suggesting you could have bribe markets, because essentially what you need whales to vote for your proposal, and if you get enough, then it's going to pass. And that's what I presume happened with Daedalus Turbo, is that they knew people with big bags that were able to vote for their proposal. And because it wasn't highlighted before the vote that this was a meaningless proposal or that it was a waste of funds, then not enough of people downvoted it. There's a really big push on people this time to start downvoting proposals that you don't think are worth it. And if I bring up my screen, this site here, Light Donation, is probably the best place that I've seen for going through all the different proposals, and you can get all the latest information in it. I know there's different reviewers of the proposals. There is the idea of D-reps coming in, that you can delegate your vote. Even I think everybody should have to put a deposit on your vote. And when you want to submit something to Catalyst, you have to put a deposit on it. It means that the project is serious and that they do actually want to, or do think they have a chance. Some people come in and just chance their arm and put in random stuff that is no good. And if you get a certain amount of downvotes, then you lose your deposit. So there is something there to only start putting through legitimate proposals. And maybe there's one category which is for nonprofits or certain types of applications that you don't have to put in that deposit. But the vast majority of them, I think some sort of a deposit when you're submitting your proposal could be a good idea. And people who are legitimate about their project aren't going to be worried about losing their, whatever, I don't know, 1,000 ADA or whatever it is. It would depend on the market price to a degree, I suppose. And Catalyst was one of our topics, but anything else on Catalyst, we're as well get it out of the way and then get into our usual topics.
Oh, that's enough drama on it. I'll stick with the word drama. There will always be drama on it. And the main thing is, I just hope in the future that we do have improvements, and there's no more Daedalus Turbos. And I think definitely a sort of fee proposal, and some sort of improvement how the downvoting and votings work, and some sort of I do think, and I don't know how you do it, but some sort of technical filter in there to remove. You know, there's projects, there's people out there, and I don't know if they're teams or individuals. They've proposed 5-6 different proposals. And if they were to get them all, I don't know how they're going to, you know, build it all out in the amount of time that they have. But, you know, and sometimes they're just flooding the proposals for what? Just to hope one hits, you know, so.
Yeah, there's definitely room for some in between, maybe some filter that all the applications come in, and then there's some body there that, not one person, like a body of people that decides what gets pushed forward for the community then to vote on where it goes. You do cross the line of, is that decentralized, that it's the community deciding? But when you look at, there is 1,600 proposals put in here. There's no way any normal person can read them. I'm basically full-time in crypto, but I'm not going to go through all these proposals. It's just,
No
even
way.
if I could find the time, which before voting comes, which I'd probably have to be on that full-time, it would wreck your head trying to go through them all. So there needs to be some filters to allow people to come in then and vote. And that's where your DREPs come in. So trusted people within the community can come in and start putting proposals forward that that deserve some airtime. I'm trying to see what I missed in questions before we move on to the next one. Yeah, like David says there, his charity proposal in Fund 9 was rejected due to the amount of downvotes, and seeing Daedalus Turbo getting funded really broke his heart. I don't know what the fund was, but yeah, if it was a legitimate proposal, and then you see things like Daedalus Turbo getting funded, it's really disheartening when that happens. Enoch says he's near the point of leaving crypto. You could leave it and then just check in here with us maybe every Wednesday to get the latest. And to be honest with some people, I would say, not saying check in with just us, but I would say check in once a week on different things. Check in on your staking, make sure it's all okay, or whatever else is going on. Even once a month is potentially okay. If you're finding that everything that's going on in the crypto space is affecting your mental health, then I would say, this isn't specific to you, Enoch, this is just in general when you bring up this topic, like he says, put everything in cold storage, walk away for a while, just check in every so often to make sure things are still running right, and don't get involved in the day-to-day shit that happens.
Basically.
He says, well, that probably a false rumor that NMKR and specifically Patrick is not happy here in Cardano. From any talk that I've had with Patrick, and we've had him on a stream here with the two of us, I think he's very pro Cardano and really is pushing Cardano out there. What he wants to see is real world utility and real world use of the Cardano blockchain. And that's really what he's focused on pushing out. And he does highlight things that aren't there on the tool side for developers and everything like that. But I would be probably shocked if he decided to leave Cardano. I think he's a very big pro Cardano person, really trying to push it forward for the future.
Yeah.
I think I have got, Bob says he can't wait for DREPs. I don't have the tech knowledge to understand some of them, nor the impact and what's needed for devs, want to fund devs, but don't know what's really helpful. Yeah, and that's where DREPs can really come in. And so the community would vote in their DREPs, kind of like your political system that we have around the world now, where you vote in your representative. They're the ones then that decide what happens, hopefully with less bribes, less maybe less. So let's talk about that, might be better. But
yeah.
Getting a legitimate system in there is the way to go. Well, that's definitely enough on Catalyst for today. We take a look at, generally we look at the overall market, TVL, tap tools, that kind of stuff. Bitcoin, not doing a huge amount since we were on last week, down 3%, even with the XRP stuff, even though the XRP case doesn't really do much for Bitcoin in the short term. It's more to do with altcoins and not being labeled as securities. XRP has held basically all of the gains. I think 86 cent was the peak. It over the last few days, it had a pullback, but starting to push up again the last 24 hours. Anyone holding, congratulations, a well-deserved win. ADA, it's last few days hasn't done a huge amount. We dipped down to 30 cents, got a bounce overnight, up 7% for the week, which is okay. It's a little bit smaller than I'd like, considering everything that happened last week. You look at the likes of Solana up 15%. Rest of the market, not a huge amount. So look, we're doing okay. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I know XRP is setting up for another run, possibly. It's looking well. You know, it's quite bullish the way it's setting up. And a lot of holders will probably have a lot higher targets. You know, I seen a good stat from Dan. I was watching this video earlier that, you know, Bitcoin is up 100% from the low, and Cardano was up maybe 30%, I think it was. So we're very much underperforming in terms of, you know, the lows of what we've had. But what I usually remember is Cardano and ADA specifically usually does this. It usually lags. It's usually slow. People think it's dead. You know, everybody think it's dying, and then it can go crazy without people expecting it. You know, Cardano hasn't really rallied at all. From its chart, you could say, well, there's a high percentage probability that the bottom is in. That's possible. It could still go low, you know, lower than what it is now. But a lot of people would be hoping that it starts making some bullish momentum, and it's currently not. You know, for me, it's still not looking great. I'd like to see some sort of push up through the 30s again to make things a wee bit more bullish. I don't know what you think about the overall chart pump, but for me, it's, you know, we need to see movement soon. But what will usually happen is it'll probably drag on for another week or two, and then something random will just trigger, which nobody knows, and it takes off, and that's what happens. But at the minute, I don't know if I can see when it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's, for me, look, I really hope the bottom is in terms of USD. I don't think the bottom's in versus Bitcoin just yet.
No.
Generally, Bitcoin is the one that's going to run. We really do need to hold, like, if we look, for me, we haven't broken out of this range here. I know we hit new lows down here, but we still got trapped back in here, even when we tried to break above it. So until we get back above 40 cents, then it's very hard to get bullish on the price in the shorter term. Look, longer term, everybody here knows that I still think ADA will go on to hit new all-time highs in the next bull run. But in the shorter term, I don't see any major movement anytime soon. You can see we got the major spike last week, but have lost a fair bit of that. But if we can consolidate above 30 cent, I'll take that. You look at the ADA Bitcoin chart. So this is the price of ADA against Bitcoin. It's one I always tell people to keep an eye on. The trend is still very much down against Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin does really start into its bull run, then I think we could see new lows past here. You can see both the wick down here and the low was in around 870 sats. Potentially we might see a low against that just yet. I'm still holding some Bitcoin in my portfolio. If we start coming back down to sub 800 sats, then I'd be very tempted to start DCAing back in with the Bitcoin into this at that point. But that's what I'd be watching. We look at...
Where did we come from on that again? What was the high in the ADA BTC?
The high, it was like 6,000 or 7,000. Yeah, just over 6,000 at the peak, which was back around, I don't know what I had that on it at some point when I was looking at. So there was a wick up over 6,000. We said the top there was around 6,000 sats.
Yeah.
When that's August. So that was leading up actually to smart contracts coming up to September 2021. I know there was something to do with China happened here. I can't remember, something on, they banned Bitcoin mining for the 10th time or something like that. Or
good old days.
Yeah, there was something leading up to smart contracts, because you can see it fell off here and then it got the push up in around when smart contracts launched, and then it started to fall away when we didn't get the influx of projects launching that kind of had been expected with smart contracts. So I'll be watching. This is the chart I generally keep more of an eye on, and if I'm going to be coming into it, I base it on this one. You look at Bitcoin. You sent me this one over just before deadlines for the US spot Bitcoin ETF approvals come into sight. So the SEC is going to, or they're going to have to put some thought into this. They either have to start pushing it out, or they have to start seriously considering the ETF now. If we come down, what is it? So they can extend it out for 240 days. I think that is the maximum they can push it out. Deadline 45 days. Any of these that I've seen before, they've generally always pushed them out. Back CBOE one, or the initial one a few years ago, I think it was CBOE, it was pushed right out to the deadlines before it was actually rejected. The positive this time is they rejected, I don't know, it was the BlackRock one, was it? That they kind of rejected there a month ago, but it was because they didn't have enough of information on it. So the fact that they've done that early, rather than just playing along for months and then rejecting it, that was a good sign to me. So next month or two, definitely worth keeping an ear out on what's happening over there.
Yeah, with BlackRock, and they would, and I know they try and think SEC is all powerful, but BlackRock is huge. They're the big players, and I would expect they'll get approved first, or they'll probably be all together. I would put a bet on that BlackRock will go first, and I'm sort of bullish on this, and I think we'll hear within the next 45 days that it's approved, because they rejected it so quickly, and they came back with the information that they needed, and that meant they have everything. There's no reason now as to why they would sort of decline it. There's no declining reason.
Yeah, and their record for getting ETFs approved is seriously high. They don't have many rejections. It's over 200, maybe even over 300. I remember reading it in some article, and there was only very few that got rejected. So they don't generally go in for something unless they know they're going to win and win long term. So keep an eye on it. But that's
just one thing to consider on those. When those ETFs do get approved, it's something that could also negatively affect ADA BTC. So it's likely Bitcoin will run once any of those are approved. On the percentage gain again on BTC versus ADA, it's likely to be impacted. That this will be a massive historical event within crypto, because it's been sought after for so long, and it's basically then institutional approval is guaranteed, and institutional investment can come in without any worries. So I would expect this chart to not look any better when that happens. Now, it will pull ADA up, which is good. The price of ADA will get pulled up with the overall crypto market. So we got to see how that plays out. But unless we see, the trading volume increasing massively on ADA, it's likely that and I'm not just saying it's only ADA, it's the majority of crypto will be suffering against BTC.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think around the USD price. Hopefully we have seen the bottom. No guarantees in anything, but the Bitcoin price, probably not just yet, because if something happened with an ETF, then FOMO happens, people run to Bitcoin, it goes on a run. So everything else against that, everything else in crypto against it, can have a fairly decent fall in the short term. But then as the funds start to trickle down from what goes into Bitcoin on the top, starts to flow down, and that's when you can start to see it all catching up. Vulcan says US government going to sell their BTC through BlackRock. No idea yet. If BlackRock come in and it's a spot Bitcoin ETF, then they're going to need to buy up lots of Bitcoin for clients that are coming in buying it. Maybe an OTC deal, but that might be wishful thinking. So on to TVL, we generally take a quick look. I'm going to take a timestamp here.
This is our positive news section. This is what sort of makes it not make any sense. And, this is the bit that I like, where I look at the chart and I be depressed, and then I realize, actually, there's a lot of activity, and there's improvements, and there's projects, and there's more than we ever had, and TVL is increasing. So, the 1 + 1 = 3 in this scenario. It just doesn't compute.
So look, covering lots of videos. TVL, $185 million worth locked in Cardano DeFi right now on Cardano. If you look at it in terms of ADA, this is the chart that is only going up and to the right every time we look at it. The USD version goes up and down based on the price of ADA. It looks like a new high, 600 million ADA. That's without including staking. So when you include staking, that's any of the protocols that allow staking on their platform, like Liquid or Vi Finance, or there's a few other ones that allow staking, then that's when it pushes it even higher. Where is staking actually? So if you include staking in it, then you can see it goes up to 750 million ADA when you include staking. We won't include it down here. Last 7 days, MinSwap still number one. Indigo seems to be closing that gap. Every week we look, Indigo is closing that gap ever so slightly. For the week, MinSwap is up 7.5%. Price of ADA, I think, did we say was up 7, nearly 8%. So for MinSwap, TVL looking fairly similar to last week. Indigo is up nearly 11. Vi Finance up just over 8, keeping in line with the ADA price. Liquid up 6, which means maybe down slightly when you take into account the price of ADA. But even still, it has been doing very well over the last, you can see the last month, up 42%. Jed up slightly. Jed really isn't doing much lately at all. There isn't enough liquidity there for people to really start to use it, where a lot of people are waiting for fiat-backed stablecoins to come in, and USDA is still on the sidelines as far as we know. USDM, which is from Mehen, they're another fiat-backed stablecoin. They're the ones that had the partnership with Charlie 3 for the transparency, where Charlie 3 will be able to publish what is in the Mehen bank account, so that whenever there is stablecoins minted on chain, the smart contract has to check back on the bank account to make sure the funds are sitting there. So I really like that aspect of it. And when you start going down, then Wing Riders up 5.6, MusliSwap getting a bit more attention, and especially actually you could see some of that if we started to look into it is probably due to the milk token. So the token for MusliSwap has been doing very well. We'll look at that when we go on. Same thing I would guess for SundaySwap. SundaySwap up 15.8, and the SundaySwap token has had a very good week too. Any other thoughts on TVL before moving on?
No, still going in the right direction, which is the good thing. And do you know the only thing I would say? What are we at? How much ADA? 700 million?
600 million without staking and 750 with staking.
Yes, 700 million. But you can. One thing I've noticed is the amount of ADA that's staked on Cardano is down. I think it's around 60 to 65% the last time I checked. So you can. What I want to see, and I don't want to see staking to drop massively down, and these projects can't stake the ADA that they receive, and that probably a lot of them haven't done so. But I've always wanted the amount of staking from people to come down, and the majority of it to come from projects and smart contracts. So, for so long, a lot of people would have bought ADA, left there, it's staking forever, it's doing nothing, you're not interacting with any projects, you're not doing any DeFi work, you're not doing anything, you're just leaving it there, and it's staking, which is good too. But I've always wanted more and more. I want it to be liquid, I want it to move around, I want it to be used when people buying and selling, native tokens, and using the ecosystem. And it's starting. I feel as if it's starting and it's kicking off. And I don't want staking to drop below like 50 or lower than that. I'd like the projects all to stake their ADA. I would love to see if anybody has a breakdown of sort of individual staking versus project. I'll have to look about and see if I can find one of those and try and get a chart to see how much projects are actually staking.
Yeah, it's probably a hard one to break down because some of them stake the ADA to individual pools, some stake to their own pools, but it definitely will be interesting to see which protocols are staking the ADA that they have and which aren't. So to get a picture of it. And then you have the likes of Optim where you can create bonds, and then so the bonds are created by, generally the initial ones were by stake pool operators. Now they have a new type of bond which anyone can create and pay the interest and essentially get a loan. So lots of people are using it for ISPOs. So that type of thing, I don't know if that counts as protocol or if that counts as community. Probably just community ADA, even though it is in in a wallet owned by the protocol.
Yeah.
So that's TVL. Question there by Gon about IBTC price is different than BTC. Why? Without kind of looking too much into it, generally this happens due to supply and demand. So when people are trying to buy it up on dexes, then there mightn't be enough of supply for people that are looking to buy. So if demand is higher than supply, then that's going to push the price up. And it's not held exactly one-to-one for Bitcoin. It's different to something like if you had Bitcoin bridged into Cardano, then generally that's going to sit as a one-to-one, because if someone buys the bridged Bitcoin in for less than what an actual Bitcoin is worth, then they can always sell the bridge version, bridge it back out and sell it for the difference, where IBTC isn't backed up by a real Bitcoin sitting there. It's a synthetic asset. It's a representation of what the other asset is, and the price will fluctuate due to supply and demand. Another question, just tuned in, did we mention the Book ITO? So no, Book Token are having their sale. What day are we? Wednesday. Tomorrow, Book Token are having their sale for their token, and the first people that can get in are the owners of the Gutenberg Bible. So anyone who holds that gets in first, and I think they get a slightly cheaper price. I did sit down with Josh from the team last week at this point, or last weekend, I think I published it. So anyone interested, you can check out the interview on the channel. I think that's us covered for TVL, and that was just looking at the actual staked ADA when you mentioned it there to see where we sit in around 60% right now, which is down. We were at 70% for a long time, and that was before, I suppose that was before DeFi really started to kick off and Binance were moving around. I'm not sure of the status of them at the minute, if they are staked or they're not staked, but we could look that up for next week maybe. So then projects, top projects.
Yep. What do we got? So I think the big move recently, is this by trending at the minute that you have up here? This isn't the
this is the top 25. So this would be the top 25 by the market cap, by the circulating supply.
So we have IGIX is still number one. I don't know how, but it's still holding strong.
Oh yeah, well you see, they just have like, I wonder should it be here or not. I was starting to think it shouldn't be, but then I looked at the liquidity, and they've one of the higher liquidities there too. But a lot of the supply is still over on Ethereum, so it's
okay.
It's not a full Cardano project, I wouldn't say. But you look at the market cap is nearly $1 billion of a market cap, $1 billion ADA.
Yeah. Compared
to next in line is LenFi, which is 172 million. So there's a massive difference. LenFi would have to 5x to actually overtake AGIX. But
so the big news today is LenFi has flipped the World Mobile.
Yeah, the two of them seem to be fighting it out for second and third. With the announcements from World Mobile last week, it had a really good push up, went up to 0.42 or 0.43 or something like that, but has been selling off the last few days. Even the last 24 hours has had a fairly decent sell-off. So, and LenFi has been extremely solid. Like if you look at the LenFi chart, I think, yeah. So it's still very much in its uptrend, and until it breaks out of this channel, then, so we say, if it loses 10 ADA, then that's when I think people would start to maybe panic a bit. But once it stays in this channel, then it's still looking very good. But like we said loads of times, we say it here and I said in other videos, that when something's gone up this far already, be very cautious of FOMOing into it. LenFi, look long term, depending on what the protocol does, still has lots of upside if things work out well, but you're always competing against people who have accumulated down in this area for taking profits. So DCA, as always, is a good strategy.
True enough. I'm surprised to see Meld is still, holding there. Realistically, it's what is the purpose of the token anymore?
It's more It's token on its own blockchain now. I heard Ken saying in an interview recently that they're not a Cardano project, they're not an Avalanche project, they're their own layer one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure how much of the project is actually going to be on Cardano now. They have invited me to, they do a live stream every week talking about the crypto market and talking about Meld and what they're doing. So I got an invite for tomorrow. So I'll be on that with Ken and Josh. I have been trying to get Ken onto the channel to put a lot of questions to him about what's going on and what's the latest on the project and what's their outlook, I suppose, for Cardano. Will everything they're doing be on their own layer one now instead of Cardano? But maybe tomorrow I'll be able to put pressure on and lock in that interview.
They will have to have some form of bridging process because they created all those NFTs and banker NFTs and everything that they've created. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see. Maybe they'll use Cardano as a way of people being able to buy it. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see. And maybe they'll have a background sort of bridge into it to be able to deal with stuff. But yeah, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, they sorry, I was going to call there. Got distracted. They, what were we saying? Meld. Yeah, they do have the bridge for the token from what I've seen. You can bridge it over to their layer one and they want to be interoperable, but I'm not sure in the NFTs and stuff, but they're definitely questions I'd like to have a chat about sometime, because look, the core of the project and what they're trying to do is still very good. I'd just like clarification on where it's all going to sit so that we can kind of try and get past all of that. And then like the idea of being able to use your crypto as collateral to take out a fiat loan is a brilliant way forward. And that's where a lot of us want to go. So I think we need to get lots of things cleared up and then hopefully get on to using the product then. So Milk, we mentioned the MuesliSwap token has had a great week. I'd say that has had an impact on the TVL for MuesliSwap, because when the token does well, it attracts more people to use the protocol, but also for the token that's locked on or that's used as on the actual protocol. When the price of it goes up, then it pushes up the TVL of the project too. What else? Snake is...
It's doing well. Good volume. The volume's great. It's not as high as it was, but it's still pretty good. It's the highest.
Yeah, this is 24-hour volume. It's still doing well in terms of volume. And I'm not sure what the latest is on the energy drink. Did people start getting it yet? It's not. I don't follow it too closely, but I know they're making lots of work. Kopi had a very nice push overnight.
Yeah,
18%. I have a feeling there's lots of that due to Crypto Crow put out a video yesterday looking at Kopi. He was given early access to look at it. He wasn't able to share on the video. Hopefully we can see some of that fairly soon, but he was allowed to walk in around it and was very excited about what he's seen. So I'd say that had an influence on people waking up with what's going on. You can see the volume.
Yeah.
I don't think this shows the history of the volume here on Tap Tools, but I'd say if you look back at the history of the volume, there probably wasn't a huge amount of volume in the last while, but it's seen a spike yesterday for when people are starting to take a look at it. NTX, Nunet, not a great week. It had been doing well before that, still up 8% for 30 days, so not too bad. I don't know what the latest is. Are you following them closely, or?
I'm not. I haven't checked them out in a while. I was in their Discord a couple of months ago, but I'll spend some time researching this week to see what's going on.
Yeah, so we closed out the top 10 then. IAG, Iagon had been one of the biggest performers, and even over the last 30 days, still massive returns. I'm sitting down with the team, what day of the week? Friday. I have an interview with the team, so I'll probably get that one out early next week to figure out what they're doing and what they're doing with their nodes and how the whole system is going to work. I have some questions in around the nodes and people providing resources, but also having to provide IAG to be a part of the network and just to see how that all works. And MinSwap then closing out the top 10. MinSwap has been on a downtrend lately, but that's the token price. In terms of performance, DEX is still absolutely flying.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing where this is what amazes me sometimes when I look at some of these projects. MinSwap is absolutely killing it in terms of their application. It's amazing. It does everything you need to do, and they're constantly adding and improving. But their token price doesn't reflect the same sort of project trajectory that's going on. And you see projects that are flying, which haven't released anything. So it's just a bit of a non-financial advice to, hype is a big factor in a lot of the investments and a lot of these projects, especially with Cardano being, sort of newish. A lot of projects will be hyped massively. Token prices will pump massively. You'll see some crazy percentages. And a lot of the time, once they release something or do a test net or, have something out there, the price will drop. And even if you go into the min chart, Paul, it's crazy to follow it from where it's been to and how successful the actual project is. It baffles me sometimes. It's like, and it's come so far.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to when a project has launched and after it's launched and it doesn't have the hype of launching anymore. If there's no real reason for people to hold the token, you do see lots of sell-offs. And I think what we're seeing here is there's been a lot of hype on different DeFi projects. So I'd say if you started to follow the money here, you would probably see lots of money flowing out of MinSwap into other tokens. If MinSwap comes out with something new, then you'll start to see that flip, and money just moves around a lot like that. Even if you look at the overall top for MinSwap up here, what it's down, that's probably 30-40% down from its peak up here. So I definitely wouldn't discount MinSwap. Like you said, the protocol has been brilliant, one of the best out there. And
it is the best. It's the best and most successful project on Cardano, but it's not the most valuable product.
Even if you look here, you can see MinSwap is number 1 for TVL and Indigo is actually number 2. Both of them not having a great week or a great 30 days, really, but still 2 of the most solid. And everybody who you would talk to about projects on Cardano would say these are 2 of the best protocols that are live on mainnet right now.
Yeah.
But token price doesn't always follow the actual protocol. People ask me what projects am I bullish on, and I always have to clarify: do they mean the protocol or do they mean the token? Because there's protocols that I really like and use a lot, but I still don't hold many of their tokens or wouldn't plan to hold many, even though I really like and really trust the protocol, and it doesn't always align with the price. Markets truly are irrational. ADA is one example of that. What else we got? ADA Street Bets, good to have you here. Looking forward to the interview tomorrow with Mels. Yep, me too. Gon says, is there no way to buy BTC on the Cardano network? There will be soon. Well, it was meant to be live 2 weeks ago. Anita BTC. There's lots of people won't trust it. It is a bridge. So the BTC will be bridged in to Cardano. So there will be an actual Bitcoin to back up any Bitcoin that comes in through Anita BTC. But you have to be extremely careful with bridges. You see what happened with multi-chain recently. One of, if not the biggest bridge out there, that the founder disappeared in May, was arrested in China. Then turns out that he held basically all the keys. He was the only one had access to a lot of the servers. When he disappeared, the team couldn't access them. Then his sister got access to a few of them, was able to pull some of the funds out, and then she disappeared. So anytime you give the funds out of your wallet, then you're always adding in some risk. When you put them into smart contracts, even audited smart contracts, you're adding some risk. When you start moving them across chain, the risk levels start to get higher. I do like one bridge that's out there, and I'm not telling anyone to use a bridge, but one of the more trusted ones would be Chainport. And why I like them is they use cold storage. So if the bridge is ever hacked, I think it's 90% of the funds sit in cold storage. So look, if they ever get hacked, losing potentially 10% isn't great for something that could have hundreds of millions of dollars worth, but it's still one of the safest options out there. And I don't see any other alternatives coming out just yet. with what's your thoughts on bridges?
I don't trust them at all. And they get hacked all the time, and I'd say, and it's a good challenge to find me one that has never been hacked. I just really, really don't trust them, and a lot of the time I don't trust the people who are probably part of them or running them. And like you say, there's people who set up bridges, and they just disappear, and that's happened a lot in crypto. And my only financial advice here is, if you're looking to buy Bitcoin, buy it and hold it yourself. Especially that, there's other things that you could maybe trade and do if you wanted to have some for other reasons. But if you're looking to be a Bitcoin holder, it's just hold it yourself. It's the safest, Now that I do welcome, maybe not the current one, but any other bridges that are out there that are considering bridging assets to Cardano, such as Bitcoin, I will welcome them. I do think they will be abused, and I likely would use them for certain things. But I'm certainly not going to bridge my Bitcoin onto Cardano with anybody. I just don't see the reasoning, and I don't want to take the risk. But that's just me. That's just me, and everybody's different. It's just too many hacks.
Yeah. For me, I won't say I would never do it, because if there was good enough opportunities with using the Bitcoin as collateral, then I might bring some in, but I would never bring all of the Bitcoin in. It's just, and this is anything, Bitcoin or any other tokens out there. Generally, I always like to keep the majority in self-custody on hardware wallets. And there has to be, it comes to the risk-reward ratio. So what is the potential gain you can get from bringing it in, maybe using it as collateral? What is the upside potential versus the risk of actually giving up custody on it? So everyone needs to weigh it up themselves. And for me, portfolio is always split up into loads of different sections, with some for sits in cold storage, never gets used, some in DeFi, some in degen plays, some in solid, midterm, and different things like that. So everyone needs to split up your own portfolio. I see we're coming up close to the hour. I think we were finished with tap tools, were we?
Yeah, that was
the last 7 days. So yeah. FLAC, IGON, NTX, Liquid, well, IUSD is due to the price of ADA going up, all down over 10%. But actually, if you look at the ones that are down the worst for the last 7 days, are all still green for the last 30 days, and the top two still way up for the last 30 days. So overall, if you were in early, not so bad. If you started to FOMO in after seeing the massive gains, then potentially you're sitting in some red, but that's where DCA comes in.
Oh, yeah.
This one was interesting, I thought, when I seen it shared out by Cardano Daily, just to give people perspective of where we are. So this is looking at the market rank for Cardano over time. So back in 2021, ADA went up, or Cardano went up to third place, and this is without stable coins. Went up to third place with a market cap of 70 billion. This must have been right in around the top. This is September. This would have been in around smart contract hype when we hit up around $3 or just over $3.
Yeah.
Sitting up at a 70 billion market cap. And right now, Q2 for 2023, we were down to fifth with a 10 billion market cap. So it's interesting to see the movement over time. You can see Solana overtook us for a while, and Solana then, the actual Doge even overtook us for a while there. But you can see the top four then from Q1 2022 have been the exact same. I think, did XRP pass BNB though?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Thought that, yeah.
And passed it by 5 billion now worth of a difference. So I just shot by it.
Yeah, and it's going up, and it's going to fly. I just know it. There's the sell-off. The sell-off happened. It's held. There's only one way for that community to send that token. They're going to have their own bull market.
Oh yeah. Things are looking very good for them right now. But yeah, that was, you see even Link now starting to push up. Polkadot is one. Polkadot are making a lot of changes now. The the system that they had initially went with and the interoperability and the auctions for parachains didn't kick off as well as they wanted it to. So I know they've made a lot of changes recently. Could be interesting to get someone on some week that has a good handle on Polkadot, if you're up for that, to have a dive into it and start doing that on some of the bigger cryptos to give people exposure to them, not even just to buy them, but to understand what other cryptos are doing, and then ask them about the drama. Obviously, do they have drama within their communities too? But Polkadot's one I'd be interested in hearing from someone who has a good grasp of it. Let's see, what else we got to round out coming up on the hour. Cardano Foundation. So the summit happening in Dubai early November. There's 20 locations around the world for local events, and registration is now open for all of them. I think the closest one to us is London. There's nothing in Ireland for it this year. And Patrick has announced here that NFT ticketing for the Cardano event is a go. So I think this is only for the local events. I'm not sure if the main event will be an NFT ticket. This is something I think could be a massive use case for NFTs in the future, is tickets. And the idea of the NFT is your access to the event, but also the NFT is your access to markets afterwards, or getting access to additional benefits of the concert, or a concert, or whatever the event is. There's a lot of tags that you can add on later on that the NFT can be your access for that. Or even you're not interested in all the benefits that come after the event, but you still want to go to it. So you get your NFT ticket, you go to it, and you could sell that on later on to get back some of the money it costs you to go to the event, and someone else gets to benefit from whatever else the NFT gives access to. So it's definitely a good use case. And
yes,
looking forward to seeing it.
I've always preached about ticketing being a massive opportunity for NFTs, and I'm glad to see it. And I definitely think it's a market in the future that the blockchain and sort of NFTs can take over and provide I don't know if it'll be I think it'll definitely be a better solution. Obviously, the big thing in ticketing is what do you call the guys who buy all the tickets? I forget their name. When they go into Ticketmaster and buy them all, so everybody can't get them.
Oh, the touts.
Yeah, ticket touting. That's always going to be the biggest problem. But I definitely think ticketing in this fashion is a great idea, and I think I've said it on here a couple of times. So I'm glad to see it happening, and congrats to Patrick and co.
Yeah, we've definitely had them conversations at different times, probably here and private chats when we're trying to come up with ideas. So that's ticketing. Another interesting idea by Fluid Tokens, which is for unlocking collateral from your NFTs, where the first version is that you can put up your NFT as collateral and take out a loan against that. So you need someone else who's willing to take the NFT as collateral. If you don't pay back your loan, then they get to keep your NFT. But this one here, I'm not sure the full working of this, of how it's going to work, but it's basically that you can rent the NFT. So with the other option, you use your NFT as collateral, but that sits in the smart contract for the protocol, and you as the person who has given the loan, given the ADA or whatever it is, never gets access to the NFT. But this seems to be a way they're looking at that I could rent. So Tappy gives you access to TapTools Pro features. I could rent that NFT from someone else and pay whatever it is. Do they show here? So you could pay per day or whatever it is, whatever the maximum amount of days is, and I could get that NFT. I'm not sure how it's going to work in terms of, is it the real NFT I get access to, or is it they create a copy of the NFT and the original one sits in the smart contract? Because one of the big advantages of NFTs on Cardano is that they aren't controlled by a smart contract. So the NFTs that sit in your wallet, nobody can ever pull that out of your wallet. The same with native assets created on Cardano. They're not done by a smart contract, so they can't be frozen within any wallet. So that, I suppose, gives the problem in that you can't just say, I put up an NFT for loan. You can't just give that to someone else, because if they have only paid whatever rent is due or whatever interest they're going to need to pay, then that's not going to cover the cost of the NFT if they run away with it. So I don't know. Have you done a deep dive into it?
I haven't, but I was obviously trying to think of other, projects and NFTs that it'll apply to. And, the World Mobile one is possibly going to be one where the operator NFT, which is to come out in the future, could be, sort of rented out to someone who wants to run the node, and they take, and the person who owns the operator NFT, they can charge a fee. So then that person can go and run a World Mobile Earth node with that NFT and obviously create earnings. It's a way of obviously basically leasing out your NFT, your Earth node, while keeping hold of it. I definitely think it's going to have a lot of uses in multiple different niche areas. Tappy, World Mobile are the two that I've thought of straight away. I don't think many people will be, sort of renting out their profile picture NFTs, but utility NFTs most certainly. So I'll keep a look at it in ones that I think are going to be used. But at least Tappy's another good one, but we'll see more.
Yeah, I see they have a Catalyst proposal in as well, looking for 200,000 ADA to bring it, to actually develop it and get it live. So it's one, I haven't read it, but anyone interested in Catalyst proposals, that's potentially an interesting idea that I think deserves some looking into anyway, or consideration of votes. And that's without me reading the proposal and seeing what exactly it is. But I like the idea of it and brings a bit of innovation. Next up, it wasn't really a topic, but LenFi's testnet is out. I put out a video yesterday walking through the testnet and gave some suggestions, I think, along the UI and UX, things that could potentially be improved or make things a bit easier for users. So you can check that one out on the channel if you want, or go and check out the testnet yourself. And LenFi is, well, we've covered it on tap tools, lending and borrowing protocol. I think that was the majority of the topics we had. We're just gone over the hour, but did I miss out on anything?
No, I think we've covered most, and it's been good. I think we have, what's our time for tomorrow then?
7:30, is it? I need to create them links. I will set up the live stream link after this. Tomorrow's busy. It's 7 o'clock. So I have the Meld stream in the middle of the day, then the EU Town Hall stream at 5:30, and then we have our stream with Mickey at 7. So lots of live streams tomorrow.
So anybody listening, tune in tomorrow for me and Paul. Will have a nice chat with Mickey about what's going on at World Mobile, and bring your questions. We're hoping that people have questions for them, and we can have a good laugh and dive deep into some of the topics.
Yeah, sounds good. And I think I got most of the comments today. If I missed any, sorry about that. Actually, there was one. I know I missed Kyle's one. He had a few questions for you, Paddy, about long walks and where are we here? Thoughts on Paribus? I haven't looked into them. Anyone else who hasn't? Dapp Central, Fareed done an interview with the team. I have it bookmarked. Haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but they're about cross-chain lending and borrowing for NFTs. Global warming. It's hot in Europe, apart from Ireland. Ireland is raining.
Yeah. There's no global warming here.
No, definitely not.
What does global warming mean? We get more rain, I think, is probably, I don't know.
Maybe everyone else is sending their rain here. But Fun 10, we done a lot of talking on that. Bullish fields, I think we gave opinions on the ADA price, USD price, hopefully has bottomed against Bitcoin. Maybe some more downside, I have to wait and see.
Yeah.
He says Epoch Sec is cool. Yeah, I had Kyle on talking all about his project and what he's doing there a while back. Really good idea. And we'll close with this one. Do you like long walks on a beach, Paddy?
No, I'm more of a sitter. I like to sit and have a case, a nice box full of beer. That would be on the beach. That would be my perfect sort of scenario. Yeah,
there's probably about 2 or 3 days in the year in Ireland that you could actually be warm enough to do that.
Yeah. 2, 3, yeah.
Right, that's it for us this week. We're back with Mickey tomorrow. Everyone that tuned in, thanks for tuning in. Do appreciate it. Give the video a like, share it out if you can. Really does help get the word out about just the info that we're talking about here. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.